computer. All right, so thank you again for having me. The recording is on, just to give everyone a fair warning. So I'm going to share my screen, and then I'm going to switch over to my PowerPoint. And we're going to go through a couple of slides. Let's see, let's flip that. It's this one. Nope, this one. Nope, this one. Dang, did this earlier. Hang on, guys. I need to flip the. How did I do that earlier?
Maybe on display settings on the top.
Oh, thank you. Maybe that's it. Yes, there we go. Okay, way better. Okay, and I'm going to take your faces off of there. Okay, so we're going to go through a couple of slides, and then we're going to go to the Miro board, which is where all of you guys will begin to collaborate together, because this is really a conversation and a discussion about OKRs related to Agile coaches. So just one single slide about me and my life and my career. So my career goes back a really, really long way. I started more in a technical role, doing data analyst, data architect roles. I've had leadership roles. I had a company in the US for a while called the Mousepad, which was super fun, but didn't make any money. So then I went back into project and program management, Scrum Masters. And then, like Sarah said, in October of 2018, I came to Portugal and have been working primarily as an Agile coach. And since a little bit before COVID, since about November of last year, I've also begun working as a life coach as well. So what happened was back in March or April, I got contacted by a company in Germany, and through a series of many emails, the first of the emails was this job interview question: what should be the OKRs for Agile coaches? And that's what prompted my thinking. I've answered them, and we've had a long conversation over many months, but it became a really interesting thing to think about, and so I thought we'd do it as a group. So first, a quick overview of OKRs for those of you that maybe have not run into these yet. So it stands for Objectives and Key Results. And so they're similar to what used to be KPIs. There's some discussion about how they're slightly different. But generally, you have corporate objectives, departmental objectives, and team objectives. And for each of the objectives, you define a set of key results. So what do those look like? Objectives are like, where do I want to go? They should be both aspirational and inspirational, but they shouldn't be completely like big, hairy, super audacious, crazy goals, but they might be more than a year or two out. So we use verbs like improve, decrease, increase, deliver, create, eliminate. And for the key results, we're looking for metrics. So this is, how do we measure whether we've met our objective or not? So when you think about these in the context of an Agile coach, it's kind of a weird thing to think about, and it got me wondering, how would I apply this, and what did it really mean from the perspective of being a coach? And I've told you that part. All right, so that's the weird thing about it. Are we really measuring the Agile coach, or are we really measuring what the Agile coach produces? And that may be the increased agility of the organization itself. So we'll see what you guys think. That's what this conversation is all about. So when I began to think about this, I was constructing my answer for this company that asked me the question. I wanted to think about whether the objectives and key results for the coach would differ depending on the level at which the coach was thinking or focusing. So as most of you know, we can have team coaches, coaches in the middle levels of middle management, and we can have coaches who are at the leadership CEO level of an organization. And so I wanted to think about, would the OKRs differ, would the objectives and key results differ depending on the level at which the coach was coaching? I also wanted to think about, would the OKRs differ depending on where the team was at or the company was at? If they were very early in their Agile maturity, would the OKRs look and sound a little different than if they had been doing Agile for, thinking Agile and doing Agile for, let's say, maybe 5 years? Maybe the OKRs would sound different. So, you know, as with all coaches and consultants, that there resulted in a 3x3 matrix, because that's what we all do, is we put the world into a 3x3 matrix. So that's essentially kind of how we're going to structure the organization today, and we're going to see what you guys think. So the other things I wanted to think about are that Agile coaches aren't always just pure coaching, right? Pure professional coaching, which has to do with things like powerful questions, and, you know, we're not telling anyone how to do, we're coaching, we're maybe facilitating, sometimes we're teaching, sometimes we're mentoring. So we sort of float all over this X-wing model. Sometimes we're providing some expertise at the leadership level, and sometimes we're coaching teams into defining what it is that they want to do as self-organizing teams. So I wanted to think about that in terms of the OKRs and whether that would make them sound a little different. I wanted to think about OKRs in terms of how the coach helps the leadership team and how the coach helps the team members themselves drive their own sense of purpose, mastery, and autonomy, which this all comes from Daniel Pink's book called Drive, which means motivation. So I wanted to think about, what did the OKRs look like in terms of creating this sense of purpose, mastery, and autonomy? So there were lots of things floating through my head as I was trying to think about what would my answer be. And last of all, I wanted to think about how would the coach at the leadership level, maybe mid-management as well, think about instilling the Agile leadership principles, which could be done at the team level, but kind of generally apply at the higher levels. So I wanted to think about those as well in my answers. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to a Miro board, and the Miro board is going to look generally like this. So we've got Shu, Ha, and Ri across the top, so that's the levels of Agile maturity, also sometimes known as beginners, proficient, and high performing, or learning, practicing, and self-adapting. And then we've got the levels of team, mid-management, and top-level execs. So in a moment, I'm going to give you the link for the Miro board. We're going to go into 9 different team rooms. So I would ask you, we're all going to be on the same Miro board, so there's really nothing stopping you from putting your thoughts in a different quadrant. But I'm going to ask you to try to focus with the group that you're, that Zoom sticks you with. I'm going to ask you to try to focus on that particular cell. And what you'll do in Miro is you'll put the sticky notes, as if we had a giant whiteboard for us. You'll put the sticky notes there to give us some thoughts about what you think as a group that the OKRs are, primarily the objectives. For the sake of time for tonight, we'll focus mostly on the objectives. What do the objectives sound like to you when the team is at that level and the coach is focused at that level? So one more slide, I think. Yeah, so we're going to do 9 team rooms. I told you about the 9 rooms. Let's see, let me pick up this link. Whoops, let me go back out of here and go back to Zoom. Oops, come back here. Where'd you guys go? Oh, over here, hold on. Over here, where's the, let's see, I have to get back to the, so Leander, do you have the Miro link handy? And do you have access to the chat? Because for some reason I've lost the chat button. Why did I lose? Oh, here it is. Got it. Okay, sorry. All right. I got 2 boards going, or 2 monitors going, as we all often do. So let's, so yes, so here's the Miro board. Let me pick this up and put this. So Leander, did you put that in the?
Yeah, I put it. Oh. Okay, sorry, I sent it privately to you. Now I put it to everybody.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you.
It's for everybody now.
Okay, So let me do 2 minutes on how to use Miro in case you guys have not done that before. So there's a couple of how-tos over here on the left. The zooming works with your mouse scroll button. If you don't have a mouse, we're going to have to ask the group because I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. I've never used it without a mouse. The primary thing you're going to want to do is get some stickies for your Zoom room. And I'll tell you which room you're in a moment, or Zoom will. And we're just going to put stickies. That's the main thing we're going to do today is just to put the stickies. So we have, oh, am I still sharing? Yeah, okay. I'm still sharing, right? Somebody tell me I'm still sharing.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
Okay, good. Okay, good. All right. So the board is here. Now, some of you might have strong opinions that you want to put, you don't like any of these quadrants, and you want to put some stickies and you put your opinion somewhere else. So I made you a spot over on the right. Other opinions. Should the objectives differ for Sheehy? You can put anything you want over on the right part with the other objectives if you have a strong opinion. And I gave you a couple of the key slides from the presentation over here in case you need those for reference. All right, and if you really want to put your retrospective answers here, we'll do those at the end, but if you've got a strong opinion, we can put those there too. All right, so let me get back to the rooms. I'm gonna make the rooms. Where's the rooms? Here we go, breakout rooms. I'm going to make 9 rooms and I'm gonna let Zoom figure out where to put you.
Yeah.
If you don't,
just before
Yeah.
the rooms thing,
Yeah.
it's also a very good practice to repeat the instructions so everybody knows what to do.
Okay, all right.
Usually
so,
people get excited, look into the board and forgot about to hear the instructions.
Right. Okay, so on the Miro board, you have Shu on the left, Ha in the middle, Ri on the right, and you have the C-level executives are at the bottom, mid-management and team at the top. Don't worry if you're just coloring things or moving the boxes around. It's okay. As long as we stay generally in the 9 quadrants, we'll be just fine for the night. I need to time this. Let's see, what time is it? 7:03. So I'm going to give you guys, can I give you 10 minutes? Let's give you 10 minutes and see how this goes. All right, create the rooms. And, what is that trying to tell me to do? Options. Breakout rooms are going to close automatically. I'm going to make them close in 15 minutes. No, I'm going to make them close in 10 minutes. Notify me when the time is up and the countdown, and move all the participants into breakout rooms automatically. All right, here we go. Open all the rooms. All right. Okay, I think they're disappearing. Okay, let's see how this works.
Hi again.
All right.
Hi.
Hi.
I think everyone should be back.
Time
We are.
flies.
Okay,
Too
so
fast. Time flies when you're lost.
say what?
Time flies when you're a little bit lost. But
Yes, yes. So I would like a little feedback. So first, let's do the feedback about Miro itself.
Can I start?
Yes, sure.
Because this is my first time that I use Miro. I think I only heard about it once,
Okay.
especially because of the COVID-19.
Mhm.
And I feel it's a really nice way to work. Like it's the same way you can have some board and some post-its. It's really nice and a cool way to do this kind of work on remote.
Yes, it is a very cool tool, and it has lots and lots of templates. This button here at the top, you can still see my screen, yes?
yep.
Yeah, so this icon at the top called templates, it has all sorts of models in here, pre-built models, templates for all kinds of different brainstorming, product mapping, you name it, it's here. It's really cool, and they keep adding them. It's a pretty cool tool. Okay, other feedback about Miro itself first.
I thought it was a bit confusing because we see everyone working at the same time, and we have lots of people working on the same board, so it's confusing to see all the post-its floating around.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
The first couple of minutes, we were trying to understand where we are, where we should put our post-its.
Yep, okay,
But
fair
it's
enough.
just because it's the first time.
Yes, I know. I used this with a client, not this particular exercise, but a different client, and it's the same. The first time everybody gets in the board,
Yeah.
it's so much information. It's a lot to absorb. So, okay, any more feedback about Miro itself first?
Doesn't it have the
Yes.
potential to go really bad with all the guest editors? Because you don't know who is editing what.
It could. There are some ways in Miro to control that a little. I opted not to control anything today. But yes, it's possible.
We'll just assume that people are civilized. Come on.
I was not saying the contrary, but just there's room for potential.
Yeah, yes, and I could see when all of you first got in there, some of my background boxes even were moving. So it's sort of trying not to freak out, but it's all fine. It's all good.
Yeah, it allows you to fix to lock some of the frames, so you can avoid this kind of pranks from participants.
Yeah. The other thing I noticed partway through was that in some cases the stickies were hiding behind the frame boxes, and so I had to fix that sort of while you guys were in there. I fixed that. So okay, all right. So so what I'd like to do now is go through the boxes one by one, and have the group that put their stickies in that box do a couple of minutes of sharing about what's on those stickies. And even if you didn't get your thoughts onto a sticky, you can keep, of course, adding them. As you can see, some people are still editing. But what were the thoughts about that Agile maturity stage and that level of focus, team, middle, and executive? So for the folks who were in team room 1, I'm going to zoom in here on this one for the moment so we can focus our attention. So if you were in team room 1 and you had one of these stickies, would you mind a few thoughts about that, sharing a few thoughts? I can't tell who you are because the stickies don't really have names on them. So.
So we were in breakout from 7, so not from this quadrant, but we are kind of blocked. So we kind of discussed a lot of ideas, and so we added one post-it to this quadrant.
Okay.
Because it felt like it could be an objective. So it's that dark yellow one. So give teams training about agile methodologies. So it sounded like a good objective, maybe not formulated in the best way, but it was the idea.
Yeah, yeah. So where the coach becomes a trainer just because the team itself is in the beginner stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And who wrote the other two stickies? Come on.
If you're talking, you are muted. So unmute yourself.
Somebody's responsible for these two stickies, guys.
Speak now, shut up forever.
They are shy.
Okay. If nobody's going to talk, we're going to talk about them as a group. So we'll try it that way. So this one says, whatever we learn, make it actionable as soon as possible. What do you guys think about that? Any thoughts?
Can I go?
Yes.
I think that's a nice way to make the people actionable for their actions, to teach them to, okay, everything that you do, you need to be responsible for that result. So they can own to their, not mistakes, but sometimes they need to own their mistakes and try to learn new ways to improve themselves.
Sure.
And also to help themselves, because if we know that our colleague has did a nice job or did a not so good job, we can help or try to learn from that person.
Yep. Yep.
I interpret it in a different way. Am I muted or what?
Nope. You're good, Ricardo.
No. Okay. So when I read this, I connect this directly, but again, it's just my interpretation to, okay, we are learning something on these trainings and so on, and we should have not a very big distance between what we are learning and something that you can apply directly in our work reality. So it's not something which is a vague concept, even though the concepts are important, that you can, make them actionable. And so we start practicing them. That's what I read from here, but I'm not the original writer of the post-it, but that's what it sounds like.
So it's like an agile way of learning and living, right? We learn a little bit, we practice a little. Learn
Correct.
from that, do it again. Okay.
Also, in our group, we were in group 3, but actually we discussed something about this other stage as well. For this first stage on the beginning of an agile implementation, for example, keep the tracking on how loyal the team is for the ceremonies could be a very plausible way or a very plausible metric they can keep an eye on. So this week we did the daily meeting every day, starting every day at 10 a.m. for example, and see in a very beginner way of doing things. Start first, replicate in a shoe stage, replicate until you get the muscle on it.
Yep.
So paying attention for the ceremonies could be a kind of OKR with metric here.
Yeah.
I added here a post-it that mentioned, that Sue was mentioned, regarding one way to help the agile coach, in this case the scrum masters or agile team coach, in the beginning, would be to support with a health check or a maturity model measure, so that we try to get on a certain stage level of maturity that team, so we can identify what are the main problems that the team might have, and the difficulties, and try to achieve, not as a goal, but as identifying what is lacking to be a more agile team.
Yep. Okay.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
to me, it looks like all these objectives that are here, at least in quadrant 1, I didn't see the others. These are objectives for the Scrum Master. You know, if Agile coach starts doing all this, what is the kind of, you know, thinking of a Scrum methodology, what will the Scrum Master do?
So I guess at least for today, I think you could think of the Agile coach at the team level to be the Scrum Master.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're not trying to have
Yeah.
2 jobs, but just a matter of focus. All right, good. Let's go to quadrant 2 and the team that worked on quadrant 2. We have more stickies here. So this is like middle management, cross-team organization, cross-team coordination. Nope, sorry, wait a minute. This is still team level, but this is
mature.
The mature, the practicing. Not super advanced yet, but working. Okay, so if you were in this team, group 2, room 2, if someone can tell us about some of these stickies.
I can start if the group is okay with that.
Sure.
So the first one, so I wrote this one here. So increase the autonomy and self-organization of the team. By this, what we meant is give opportunities and space so that so of course you cannot force autonomy and self-organization, but it's a bit like taking out some of the training wheels so that the team has opportunity to find what works in their case. One of the things that was mentioned in the group, for instance, is this skeletal 3 questions approach when you are, let's assume you're doing Scrum, when you're having a stand-up, so that we might so that we give space so the team can get into the ha, which is not necessarily following these 3 steps, right? They are essential for if they are in shoe, but let them have their own space to start to do the stand-up in the way that they find more valuable. So I would give back to I would give that space to the team.
Right. Good.
Sorry if it was too wordy, but
No. Thanks for clarifying.
sure.
I can talk about another. I was on this team. It's a one that is talking about the teach that I wrote, that is teach the teams new way to do some events, and I put like Scrum events. So my idea is, since we are on the role of Agile coach, that it's on the middle level. He has some knowledge, not exactly master, really good, but okay, a good level. And I think it's a good way to, okay, if the team is doing Scrum, trying to teach the members to do like the daily stand-up that Ricardo was mentioning, at some point the team will, I think, will get tired of it, because it's all, on the start, it's always the 3 questions. What I did yesterday, what I'm going to do, what are my roadblocks? And now a novice Agile coach will stick with that. And if we have, if we are a more knowledgeable Agile coach, we'll try, okay, let's do this on a different way. So the team doesn't get bored when doing these types of events, to break the monotony, to avoid like the zombie Scrum and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, good, thank you.
Yeah, linked to that idea, I wrote this one, adapt Agile practices to team needs. Here at this level, I think the team is already getting some autonomy, and we can get good inputs from the team to adapt or to customize the practices to their specific needs.
Yep. Yep. Good. I want to hear a little bit about this one. Who wrote this one?
This one was also me. And in my case, when I took the teams, they were delivering an average of 70% of story points in each sprint. They were always trying to plan the maximum they would feel comfortable, but in the end, they were failing a lot. So, because 70% looks a good result, but if we look on the other way, that it's 1/4 of the things that we promised to the customer, we are not delivering. And so I started to challenge them to improve these results, and this led to to be more careful on the planning, to be more conscious of the stories that they were committing to, and then the results started to increase. But I think it's important that we make them feel responsible for this delivery.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, at first they don't even know what to do with story points, but
yeah,
then we have to take the next level. Okay, good. I'm going to go on to the third one. Oh, there's no now. Okay, who was in room 3? And somebody tell me why there's no ideas here.
In my team, we discussed this point actually, but we didn't know
because
how to
because in
write.
room 3 we didn't discuss exclusively this point. So Sarah, please.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. I don't know which was my team, my group, but we discussed this point, but we didn't know how to write on the post-it. But what we discuss is in this stage, the team, if it is a high performance team, should maintain their high performance, and that's the difficult here, because their motivation can decrease somehow because they are stable, they are going very good, but sometimes at some point they can demotivate, and the goal here is to keep the team at that stage, at that level, always pushing their motivation, being able to come with different approaches all the time, to keep them focused also. I think that's the goal in this stage.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
I don't know how
So
to
if I may
describe
add,
this as an objective.
it's like a sense of purpose, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe if they have sense of purpose, they know what are their goal and their focus, where they are going, maybe they will keep at that high performance level.
Yeah, much more focused also on business KPIs than in practices, methodology.
Metrics like story points, for instance. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So changing a little bit the mindset of, instead of focus on their own work because they are already high performance teams, they
are looking to a whole much more.
Exactly. So they understand the environment where they work, the business, and the value creation. So it would be a team that would be measured by the value created, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Totally agree.
So, so would each of you guys be willing to go into a sticky here and put one or two of those thoughts on a sticky?
We are.
Okay, good. All right. And I'm curious. So for those of you that have gotten to the point of a high performing team, I'm curious how long it stayed in high performance, because what I've seen anyway is, because technology teams turn over a lot, you lose a member, you gain a member, and then bam, they're out of high performance because they've gone back to storming and forming again. And so I'm curious, is that what you guys have seen, or do they pretty well stay in the high performing mode?
No, I see that. When you take one member of the team or get another member into the team, you are starting from, I would not say from the beginning, maybe.
Not from the beginning. I never saw that.
Yeah,
because
you come back,
sorry.
back a little bit, not being in high performance. You need to work on that again.
Yeah, I agree. You never start from the zero, because in a for instance 7 members team, if you change one person,
One.
the weight on the team is not so big. It's not big enough to start from zero. But yes, I totally agree. You stop a little bit and you decrease a little bit the high performance.
Yes.
Okay, good.
My experience is like Sonia also. The teams that I got really into really high performance, they stayed over there for quite a while until actually the product was developed. There is one thing just I would like to add, which is it depends on who you change on the team, because some people tend to be natural leaders, not they are imposing something, but they are inspirational people. And if one of those people leave, then you don't start from zero, but you really go, well, you go into storming again. But apart from that, yeah, I agree with Sonia just mentioned.
Yeah, and
I actually,
also, I suppose if you change out a leader that's not on the team, but it's a leader of the team, that could throw things into a tizzy as well. Go ahead, Sarah.
I was just going to add that actually I had a different experience on one of the high performing teams, which is by changing one member. The team was high performance and we changed one member and we thought the team was going down because of that. And it actually made everyone else go up and be even more high performing. So it was a really cool experience because he was a natural leader. But when he left, we were so afraid that the team would go down on performance that everyone kind of stepped up and they all became like really higher performance than they were before. So it was a really nice experience.
Yeah, and now we are making a live experience to see if the Agile Connect team is a high-performing team, because we added the Aveiro part to an already ongoing and high-performing team, and let's see if the performance will keep. So Aveiro, no pressure on you, okay?
No pressure, no.
Yeah.
Forget it. There is no Aveiro more, and since from now on we'll just arrange with Lisbon on how to make just Agile Connect online meetups and forget about the cities until at least by now.
Yeah, at least for a while.
I would like to add one thing. Just you guys were mentioned when a person leaves the team, but also is important who is the person that is going to integrate the team, who is the profile of that person, because yeah, the person who leaves can be a natural leader, but what do you need for your team? Why are you changing and what do you need? I had one team last year that we lost one person and the team didn't change their performance. The person that we hired was the right one for that place with the mindset that we need, so they didn't change. So it also depends.
Nice, very nice. All right, so we're going to move just a little more quickly so we get done on time today, but I want to hear now from the SHU group, number 4, room 4, the SHU group for middle management and cross teams. Got 3 stickies to hear about there. Who's going to tell us what WOW means?
So it is difficult to have a role like middle management in Agile. So I think that is necessary to create a definition of a way of working, what the middle management do, what is your expectation, what...
The great question of what does the development manager do, right?
If someone knows exactly the answer, please ping me. Or knows how to explain it very well, because I struggle with that every day. So I would like to know how to explain it really well. So ping me.
So Sarah, I participated in a conversation like that a couple of years ago at a different company, about 3 companies back. And I think I saved some of the bullets. So so we could chat. That'd be fun.
Yes, we should. Thank you, Thene. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, what else, guys? I see 2 other stickies here.
So the dark yellow, once again, we did it. It's kind of the same thing. Clarified middle management role on Agile.
Yep. Okay. And what's improved methodology knowledge?
It was because it's for beginners, so we thought that it was an important objective, so that everyone would have the knowledge about the methodology, how to work, and what the way of working is.
So what's the difference between this methodology training and what happens at the team level? How do you see that a little different?
We have doubts about what roles were involved in the middle management. Like you said before, in the team level was the Scrum Master with the team, and at this one we were a little confused about what roles were involved.
So it depends on the company you go into, right? So I've gone into some where not the team was QA, DevOps, infrastructure, and what do they all do, right? They're not in the team, but they're running around the outside of the team. So, and it's kind of a little bit about Scrum of Scrums or whatever we do with Kanban, but you know, how does the team function across groups? How do the teams function across teams?
How to create the links between the Agile team work itself and the rest of the company to create the value, right?
Right.
Because the middle management is entitled of quality, is entitled of infrastructure platform, even the productized part, right? The product owners and product management.
Right.
So the Agile coach in this case will be, it's important to create this knowledge and create the links and the way of communication, like the Scrum of Scrums, for instance, boards, create visibility on the difficulties, the blocker points. How could a team of infrastructure will help the Agile team to unblock their issue because they have the pipelines, so on, the development environments.
Right.
So the Agile coach will answer this and will try to improve this collaboration between these teams.
Yeah, it's the whole, how the whole ecosystem fits together.
Exactly, ecosystem.
I think one concept that is quite important for the whole organization to understand is the servant leadership. You know, one company I work in Norway, basically they inverted the pyramid, and all the middle management and top management, they were designed their new job description to help the product owners. So basically the product owners becomes the most important persons in the company. And it was funny because even directors and all that stuff, they always asking to the product owners, what do you need? What do you need? And that changed completely. Of course, other companies, I see that because if the middle management has already roles which are well defined over the years, then they don't want to change that easy. So
yeah.
So I think the concept of servant leadership, which is kind of difficult to get sometimes, I think it's quite important.
Yeah, Marco, would you mind adding that to one of the stickies here?
Okay.
Thank you. Paulo, did you have a comment too? Paulo Souza?
No. I like the description that Sonia made about this level, but I have no more things to say.
Okay. All right, let's go to the middle box. So this is the mid-level, practicing level at the middle management. So we have lots more stickies here. Good. So who's going to tell us about these? And I don't know what O means.
Okay, so I can start. I put the sticky optimize teams interactions. There's a C missing there, because I believe that at this level, the team should be aware of what's around the team itself, okay? And interactions with other teams, DevOps, namely, for instance, and how to optimize and improve the time to market of the products.
Okay, thank you.
I can speak on behalf of the dark yellow ones. I put the better feedback, improved team competencies, delegation, and team motivation. So I thought this from the point of view of the middle manager. So if I was Agile coach, I would try to rephrase these objectives and create these objectives or OKRs around these topics, let's say. So I guess, in my opinion, a middle manager in this level of maturity, we probably focus on not only on this, but on this as well. So better feedback, so making sure that all the teams are aligned. It was already mentioned here that the middle manager is responsible for different kinds of teams, so with different skills. So the alignment and the feedback and improving the process is probably part of his objectives. So I would work on around these topics.
All right, good. Does anybody have any more comments or questions about these stickies? If not, I'll go to the next one to the right. Okay, let's see what we got. Ah, we got another big 0. All right, team 6, tell me about why this is blank.
Now you're scaring people.
It could be that you decided that at the re-level, no one needs an Agile coach.
Nah, I'm just joking with you. Come on.
Who is on room 6? Okay, no feedback. Let's keep going. That's all right. The folks from team 6 or anyone, if you think there's something that should be on a sticky here.
I just would like to add something here, because as I told before, in our group we didn't focus on our squared space, but we kind of talked about all of them.
Okay.
In this stage, I think is the not seeing a silo mentality on an organizational level is a kind of a metric to observe. You can the things become more difficult to measure itself, but if you can see more collaboration and less the silo mentality is a good indication for this level, because here is usually where the dependencies are created and not resolved. And in this kind of high maturity, it seems that, or it could indicate that we see the dependencies up front, we solve them, or even we address them, and we treat when they were not solved before in also high level discussions, trying to figure out how to solve it, and not to finger pointing or stuff like that. I will add a post-it on this.
Thank you. Thank you. Good. All right, let's go to the executive C-levels. So these are the beginner level C-level people. Yes, the C-level leaders who are very new to Agile, but they've decided they're going to implement an Agile transformation. All right, who can talk about this quadrant?
So we were the team on that quadrant. So we did manage to have one, which is the dark yellow one. So increase the level of knowledge around Agile for everyone in the company. So one of the objectives could be to have everyone participating in trainings or something like that, including C-level leaders, but not only, because it doesn't work when only them. It doesn't not work without them, and it doesn't not work with them when it's only them.
Right.
So we did, that's what we added. We couldn't find anything else.
Okay. Oh, someone's writing.
Yeah, I can talk about the purple one. So we included that because we were discussing about one post-it that we had in the middle one, and then we said that before we work on the C-level on a particular way, first we need to have like the buy-in to have the Agile culture in the company. So that's why we put this post-it.
All right, thank you. All right, and who just typed that brand new gold one?
Was it me?
Ah, thank you. Ricardo, can you tell us about that one?
Jose, sorry, I was in a phone call and I just, typed something and I was the one putting here, ensure that path learning is going according to plan. So my point is that, when this agile learning is introduced in the company and at this beginner's level, to ensure that there is a plan and we are going step by step in the plan. So that's the most important criteria, to ensure that that we're starting this course and everything falls into this place. That's
okay. That's this light yellow one, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And Ricardo, you added this one, the gold one?
Yeah, this one is really near and dear to my heart because normally we are observed at a higher level in the organization is that everything is very schedule driven. We have to deliver on this date, this certain scope, and we also consider that the quality is not negotiable. But of course, we know that you cannot fix the three sides of the triangle of even traditional project management. So the idea, for me, it's really important to change the mindset of C-suite from something which is all focused on delivering a certain schedule on a fixed date to focus on delivering value first, which is good for the end customer, of course, and also due to the fact that if we deliver value first, we might not even have to do the whole scope, right? And if we don't have to do the whole scope, then as a company, we are avoiding, I wouldn't say eliminating, the opportunity risk and the delay risk of taking other projects or products that are more valuable for the company, instead of being obsessed with the contract negotiation.
Yeah.
One thing that I would add, sorry. One thing that I would add, because if this is the first stage of C-level leaders, is to first understand why they want to change. Because we have lots of companies that just want to be agile or go agile or use agile. They don't know why, they don't know what are their pains. So for me, it would be identify and put as transparency as possible and visible as possible what kind of problems the company wants to solve.
Yeah, great one, Sonia. Would you mind adding a sticky for that? Good, thank you. All right.
One thing, just one more topic on this at beginners level, let's say for the C level. I think it's really important that they understand what's the role of an Agile master or Scrum master, because I feel this lots of time that it's not clear for, especially for the management in the organization, what is the Agile master for?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's mistaken by a project manager, by some coach, secretary organizing ceremonies and this kind of thing.
Schedule arranger.
Yeah.
Like I would
something
like to
like
call
that.
it.
Yeah.
Cheerleader too.
Yeah, cheerleader.
So I think that's why I think in this quadrant, it's important also to start thinking recruitment as a strategic initiative and not just as reaction to the needs. And also, if in the quadrant 5 we had we start focusing on happiness, for that to happen at middle level, I think it is on this stage that we need to start thinking about people as not creators of values, but people are emotions and feelings. We are emotions and feelings, and so I think it should start here at this, in my opinion, at this level.
That one's very nice, Marco. Would you mind adding a sticky about that?
Okay.
All right. So we're coming close on time. Looks like this one is primarily about accelerating the transformation. So that doesn't take a lot of explanation. And then here we get these guys at the C level. at the C level, when the C level is high performing, they don't need coaching. Does anyone want to dispute that one?
Just because they're high performing doesn't mean that they achieved nirvana. And coaching is going probably to help them see other answers that are inside of their brain. That's your work as a coach.
Yes,
so just
that
because
would.
you're high performing doesn't make render the coach. I don't say. What do you say?
Like irrelevant.
Irrelevant, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I was part of group 9 where to do this, and I had this misunderstanding that this was the OKRs for the coach himself or herself. So in my perspective, a coach should not have their own objectives. So that's why there was a bit of a misunderstanding. At least is my view. I'm also a coach, and if I go to a coach relationship and I have my own objectives, then I'm messing up everything. You know, I should work on the objectives of my client and not on my own objectives. So that's why I was, also convincing or talking with my team, and so that's why we said that at this level there was no need for coaching.
Okay. If so, Marco, just for the historic record, because I'm going to try to pull this stuff out of here, would you mind clarifying that sticky so that I capture it in the way you really meant it?
Okay, I have a bit of work to do now.
Okay. All right. So thank you, everybody. This has been very good. We do have one sticky over on the side that's set. So this is, should objectives for Agile coaches differ for the team versus middle management? The objectives of the coach should be the ones that the team, the mid-management, and the exec have for themselves. So that was my perspective as well. Primarily, the coach doesn't really have their own objectives. They are enabling the objectives of the team and the execs. Doesn't mean that we as coaches don't have our objectives for personal growth and new techniques and things like that, but that's a little different than what this is about. So the last thing we'll ask you guys to do is this lower level section here. You can do this after the call is done, because I believe we want to stop the call right about 8 o'clock. So if you would not mind, what I liked the most in the ones on the left, something to improve in the middle, and if you would put your LinkedIn profile here, because we can't do it on our phones because we're not physically near each other. That would be great. I will make these slides available to Sue Leander and the group to post wherever they get posted. And you will see at the very end in the back of the appendix, you will see what I provided back to the company. If you have something to debate there with me, that's I'm fine to do that as well. But I didn't want to give you my answers. I wanted to hear all of yours. So any final thoughts before we stop for the night?
I have a question. Thene, do you think that this was kind of a tricky question from the company?
Well, sort of. It was the first of several, actually. This was the oddest interview process I've ever been through. It took about 6 emails and about 3 months. And in each email came one question. And they were all a little tricky like this. So I think they had over 50 candidates for their Agile coach role. So I'm sure they were trying to give tricky questions to try to find their own best candidate. So,
Was it the German company?
yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well, you all have a wonderful evening. I'll be anxious to see what your feedback is on the retrospective here. Thank you so much for participating. Sue Leander, do you have any final thoughts, or Sarah or
Sarah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just like to thank everyone for being here once again. This is what makes the community as good as it is, seeing you over and over again and seeing new faces every time. Thank you again, Thene, for coming here, for sharing this with us, for making us experience this session. And if this was physical, I would invite you all for dinner. So you're all invited for dinner in your own home today. Yeah, thank you all. And I think that's all. I didn't forget anything. So we'll probably you'll see something coming up in August for the community, Agile Connect community. But then we all take some vacation in August. So if we do have something, it will be one session only. We are currently trying to do 2 sessions per month. As we join communities.
We will have the 2nd of July in about 15 days.
Yes, we will have the 2nd session in July. Thank you, Suliander. In about 15 days, and then in August we're going to do a small break, but we're still trying to cook something for you in
Very
August.
special.
Let's see. Let's see
keep
if that
the
happens.
expectations high, because our tradition at Porto community, it was to do the beach meetup in August. Yeah, the meetup on the beach.
No.
With our feet in the sand. Okay,
yeah.
So
probably this year that's going to be a little bit hard, but we are trying to cook something for you so you can feel you are in our August pitch meetup. Okay, so thank you again. Share your feedback, and I think that's all. It was a pleasure having you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Ricardo Fernandes, for providing the room.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
See you in 15 days.